My first and earliest memory was probably at about 11, and my family lived at Wandai, and we were driving to Nambour, down through Gameri and those sorts of places. And we had left late at night because my mother worked at the peanut silos, and so we left after midnight, and so we were driving through to the Sunshine Coast. And somewhere on the road there was lots of curves going, and my father was driving, and he said there's a big truck coming because the lights were really bright, and as we were going around the curves we could catch sight of the light and that sort of thing. And so we were waiting for which corner, when we get round it, will this big truck be there? And of course we just drove, and there was no lights. The lights just went off to the side, and it wasn't any crash or anything. It was some lights in that forest between Mergen and Gameri. So that was the first sort of inkling, I suppose, that yes, there are strange things out there, etc. And then the next one was I was renting a farmhouse out behind or near Kenilworth, and it was between the Mapleton Falls and Kenilworth, and it was called somewhere out there. There was a big farmhouse, and one time I can't sleep with the moon shining because it's just too bright, and so I'd closed all the curtains in my bedroom because the moon was there in what would have been the north, right? So I'd closed all them and I'd gone to sleep, and as my bedroom door was open, which went across the veranda to the back paddocks, and I woke up, and there was this really bright white light shining straight in onto my face, and I thought, oh, that damn moon, you know. And I got up to close the door, and I had a split-second impression that there was a spacecraft down there with people, and that they had communicated something to me in that light. And so that was quick and done, and that was my next experience, really, sort of thing. And then the next one was the one which would have been in about 1994, and that was the one with the really hot weather, and just at first light. It wasn't dawn, because in Australia you get an awful lot of light before the sun actually rises, and so that I had seen this in the bedroom window, which was totally wide open. There was nothing between me and the sky virtually, and so that and it was a disc that would have been it was more oblong, and it was a really pulsating copper colour, and it had little windows all around it, and it was moving probably, at a speed like that across the sky, but it wasn't that far away. And I do have a very rational mind in my head as well, and so I thought to myself, that's got the sun shining on it, but it's looking so copper and iridescent. But then I realised, well, the sun hasn't come up yet, and it's flying between the sun and me, so it would be nearly in silhouette if it was doing that. Whereas this was really quite bright, and the thing that I remember clearly from that as well is the absolute silence. You know how there's a silence that is so silent when you know that there's some sort of spacecraft around. So that was the next time. So that was about 1994, I would say. And then it was 1997 when I was out on the Diamantina at the Old Cork station, and we were there to see Halley's Comet, which was disappointing. And Old Cork station is on the banks of the Diamantina, but built up onto a little hill, and it was a big old brick station house that we were sleeping in. But we had gone outside. It was my sister and brother-in-law, myself and my youngest son Rowan, who was about 11 at the time, and so we'd gone out to watch and look at Halley's Comet coming up. And down below the curve of the hill, there's mulga to the horizon, sort of thing, and out of the trees at the mulga, down at the bottom. And it would have been, I suppose, about 500 metres away in the scrub. and suddenly out of the bush came, at a flying fast level bush, was this definitely round spacecraft, and you could sort of see the top was rounded, but you could see the lights inside. The lights inside of it were a blue colour. It seemed as if it wobbled, like as if they were taking off so fast that they, rushed the takeoff or whatever. But then within split seconds, it was beyond the horizon, which in Central Australia, the horizon is a long, long way away. And so I'm thinking now of another time at Mullaney when it was, and that must have been nearly at the end of the millennium. There was a really big full moon eclipse, which started at about 2 in the morning and went through to beyond dawn and sunup. And I was at Mullaney and to do with a alternate school, and so all the school kids came and sat in my front paddock, and we had the most fantastic view of it. But we were all there. We were all very open to this sort of thing. It was always discussed at this alternate school anyway about what was in the sky. And in Mullaney, the sky is beautiful, and it was lovely. And we could see these little spacecraft coming around and parking and then moving again and that sort of thing. I find it just as interesting to see the reactions of other human beings when it's like a group of people seeing things, etc. The Diamantina one, and now there's the one out my front door here, which was across the road. There was a tree there. They cut it down in the last week or two. But anyway, out the front here, and it was a strange thing because I'd let the cat out the door, and I was just watching him walk along the path, and I glanced above the house across the road, and it was a little rectangle, and I would suppose it would be about that long in the sky across the road, and it was a straight rectangle, and it was a really turquoisey colour, sort of like that glass, and I felt that it was transparent through that, the colour sort of thing, and I noticed it gliding along, and I thought, oh. And then it went behind the tree that was there, and then it came back and went back along up that way, and then back down again behind the tree. And as it came out, it actually curled like a ribbon, which really caught my attention then. Because for a start, I will say that I thought to myself, has somebody got a drone or something, which was a Christmas present, right? But then when it did that, I thought, that's odd. So then I started to think, how far away is this? Where in sky distance? But anyway, then it went back along, and then it disappeared. But then it came again, and it was perfectly circled, cornflower blue like a sapphire. And once again, it did its little back and forths, and then it stopped, disappeared, and then it came back as a red triangle. And I thought, this is just amazing. And no sound, no nothing, but just this beautiful stuff happening in the sky. But it was good that the 2 women at the shop at the end of my street did say to me that they had seen a red triangle and they wondered what it was, but they were watching it between the houses down beyond town as well. So there it is, my experiences with UFOs.